a.m. The room is pitch black. You are deep in sleep. Suddenly, the room lights up. There is no sound, no marimba ringtone, no vibration rattling against the nightstand, just a harsh, white flash of light hitting the ceiling. For a normal person, let's call them the blind optimist, this moment is annoying. They squint, they groan, they think, who is texting me at this hour? They roll over. Their pulse remains steady. They are irritated, but they are safe. But then there is you. When that screen lights up, your body doesn't register annoyance. It registers a threat. In the split second it takes for your eyes to open, your heart slams against your ribs, your breath catches in your throat. Your mind doesn't think wrong number. It thinks hospital, accident, police. It's finally happened. You are already grieving before you even touch the device. You are already at the funeral before you've even unlocked the screen. And because of this, because your body treats a notification like a physical attack, you live your life in silent mode. The switch on the side of your phone is permanently orange. You haven't heard your own ringtone in years. If someone asks you to turn the sound on, you feel a genuine spike of panic. Why? Why do some people move through the world assuming a phone call is a connection, while you move through the world assuming it's a grenade? Is it anxiety? Is it intelligence? Or is it a scar from something you haven't fully healed? Stick with me, because if you are the kind of person who keeps the world on mute, the answer isn't that you're antisocial. The answer is that you are surviving. And we need to talk about what you are surviving from. Let's be brutal about the first reason. This isn't a quirk, it's a mechanism. We call this group the Wounded Sentinels. For you, the silence isn't a preference, it's a shield. Psychologically, the brain learns through association. Pavlov rang a bell, and his dogs salivated because they expected food. But the human brain learns much faster through pain. If you are in this group, there was a moment in your past, maybe a specific phone call, that cleaved your life into before and after. Maybe it was the call that told you a parent was gone. Maybe it was the text that ended a relationship you thought was safe. Maybe it was a call from a debt collector, or a doctor, or a lawyer. In that moment, the sound of a ringing phone ceased to be a digital noise. It became the soundtrack of your trauma. Now, years later, your conscious mind might have moved on, but your body hasn't. Psychologists call this a somatic marker. Your nervous system remembers that noise equals pain. So when the phone rings loudly, you don't just hear it. You flinch. You feel a wash of cortisol. You feel the floor drop out from under you. By keeping the phone on silent, you are trying to sever that connection. You are trying to reclaim your safety. It's about control. When the phone is loud, the world can kick down your door at any second. Anyone, anywhere can invade your peace. But when the phone is silent, you are the gatekeeper. You check the notifications when you have your armor on. You engage when your heart rate is steady. You are not being cold to your friends. You are simply protecting a nervous system that is exhausted from being startled. You are trying to ensure that the next time the bad news comes, it knocks quietly. But not everyone does this because of a specific scar. Some of you do it because of how your brain processes the future. This brings us to the second group. You don't fear what has happened. You fear what is about to happen. We call this group the Pre-Emptive Grievers. If you are in this group, you suffer from a cognitive habit called catastrophizing. This is where your brain is an expert at skipping the mild outcomes and sprinting directly to the worst-case scenario. Your boss texts, "Can you call me?" A normal brain thinks, probably about the schedule. Your brain thinks, "I'm getting fired, I can't pay rent, I'm going to lose everything." The timeline collapses. You aren't just reading a text. You are living a nightmare, so why the silence? Because silence buys you a buffer. Psychologically, anxiety is the intolerance of uncertainty. The moment a phone rings, it opens a question. What is it? For the preemptive griever, that question is agonizing. If the phone rings out loud, you are ambushed. You have to react now. You have to perform. You have to be okay. But if it's on silent, you see the notification, and then you pause. You might wait 10 minutes. You might wait an hour. You aren't ignoring them. You are preparing. In those quiet minutes, you are running the simulation. You are steeling yourself. You are telling yourself, okay, if this is the end of the world, how will I handle it? You are putting on your mask. The preemptive griever keeps their phone silent because they feel they need to control the timeline of the disaster. It creates a false sense of agency. If I don't check the message, the bad thing hasn't happened yet. This is an exhausting way to live. It requires a massive amount of energy to constantly hold up the sky. But to you, this feels safer than optimism. Optimism feels reckless. Optimism feels like walking into a knife fight with your hands down, so you keep the phone on silent. Not to ignore the world, but to give yourself a fighting chance against your own imagination. 1130, Group 3, the Defensive Strategists, Ruthless Focus. However, there is a third group. And this group is often the most misunderstood. They look like anxious people. They look like traumatized people, but their psychology is colder, it's sharper. We call them the Defensive Strategists. If the first group is hiding from pain and the second group is hiding from fear, this group is hiding from chaos. You use a psychological tool called defensive pessimism. You don't just expect things to go wrong. You plan for it. You know that the world is distracting. You know that people are demanding. You know that if you leave that ringer on, your attention will be fractured into 1,000 pieces by noon. So you go dark. For the defensive strategist, the silent phone isn't a shield, it's a weapon. It is a tool of high performance. You have analyzed the switching cost, the energy it takes to recover from an interruption, and you have decided the cost is too high. You treat your attention span like a bank account, and you refuse to let random people make withdrawals. People call you hard to reach. They call you detached. But inside your head, you aren't detached. You are efficient. You are running a simulation. If it's an emergency, they will call twice. If it's a text, it can wait until I'm done. You have a protocol for everything. The blind optimist leaves their ringer on because they think, I can just answer it, it's no big deal. You know better. You know that one interruption can ruin a flow state. You know that one emotional text can derail your entire afternoon. So you silence the variable. You aren't hiding from the bad news. You are just ensuring that when you deal with it, you are operating at 100% capacity. You are the one who stays calm when the building is on fire, simply because you've already visualized the fire drill. So we have the wounded, the grievers, and the strategists. Maybe you see yourself in one of them. Maybe you are a mix of all three, depending on how hard the week has been. But here is the brutal part. Here is the psychological turn that nobody likes to admit. Living on silent works. It lowers your cortisol. It stops the startle response. It gives you a sense of power, but it costs you. The cost is something called anticipatory anxiety. Even though your phone is silent, your brain is often screaming. Because you have removed the auditory cue, the ring, you have become obsessive about the visual cue. Be honest. How often do you check your phone? Do you tap the screen every 3 minutes? Do you feel a phantom vibration in your pocket even when the phone is on the table? You silence the phone to stop the anxiety, but the anxiety just moved. It shifted from your ears to your eyes. You are still hypervigilant. You are still a sentry walking the perimeter of your life, waiting for the attack. You just changed the way you watch for it, and there is a deeper, sadder cost. When you constantly brace for the worst-case scenario, you start to armor yourself against the best-case scenario. The same phone that brings the tragedy also brings the love. It brings the "I miss you" text. It brings the photo of your friend's new baby. It brings the opportunity that could change your life. But when you treat the phone like a bomb, you flinch even when it's a gift. You cultivate a numbness. You flatten your emotional curve. You tell yourself you are just being prepared, but really, you are making yourself unreachable to joy, just in case joy decides to hurt you later. People who live in this mindset are often the most reliable people in a crisis. You are the one your friends call when things fall apart, because you are the only one who isn't shocked. But the tragedy is that you survive the catastrophe that never happens, and in doing so, you miss the quiet peace that is happening right now. So let's bring it back to you. The next time you see that screen light up in the dark, pay attention to your body. Do you feel curiosity, or do you feel a contraction? Living with your phone on silent isn't a defect. It's an adaptation. It is your mind trying to find a way to exist in a world that is too loud, too fast, and too unpredictable. It connects to emotional independence. It shows that you are trying to own your own time. But I want you to try something. Just for a moment, consider the possibility that the silence has become a prison. Consider that by walling off the noise, you are also walling off the connection. We can't predict the future. We can't control the news that arrives on our doorstep. Whether the switch is orange or not, life will happen. The tragedy will come or it won't. The joy will come or it won't. The goal isn't to force yourself to be a blind optimist. You can't just flip a switch and become someone who trusts the universe. That's not who you are. But the goal is to reach a place where the phone is just a tool, not a weapon. To realize that you can handle whatever comes, not because you silenced it, but because you are strong enough to hear it. Silence is beautiful, but only when it's a choice, not a hiding place. I want to know the truth. When you see a missed call from a number you don't know, what is the very first scenario your brain invents? Is it a wrong number, or is it an emergency? Tell me in the comments. It's heavy, but writing it down helps. If this video made you feel seen, if it described the feeling in your chest that you've never been able to put into words, hit that subscribe button. We are building a community here that doesn't shy away from the darker parts of how we think. Like the video to help this message, find the other people who are watching this in a quiet room with their phone on silent, thinking they are the only ones. I'll see you in the next video.